Yeah. Hey, today we're gonna talk about how to configure a remote SSL VPN in FortiGate. So this has a couple of types how we can do it. One via the tunnel mode, via the web portal, and all the other stuff. So how basically the concept of remote SSL FortiGate is there's a FortiGate which is working as a firewall, and you have the internal applications hosted inside your network, and you wanted to access these internal applications via the remote sessions. Like you're gonna create a tunnel from the remote users, and you're gonna connect to the FortiGate. It has two modes. One is like tunnel mode, and one is the full access and the split tunnel, and it has two types. One is like Forti client. You can connect via the Forti client and the web portal to access the internal applications. um, so welcome. Before going to the configurations, I have some couple of understanding to be made clear. One is like SSL VPN split tunnel for the remote users. So what this is gonna do is in the sense, so you have a remote users, you're gonna access the internet for this remote users. The local internet is breaking out via this remote users. You can able to access the internet, like if you wanted to stream a YouTube video, you can able to access the internet via the remotely. You have a different ISP provider and it can be able to access like this. And if in case if you wanted to access an internal resource like a web server or any FTP server inside your network which is behind the FortiGate, you can access with the SSL VPN configured. You're gonna just specify the subnets on the remote user subnet, what exactly you want to access. This is one of the type, and this is like the split tunnel. The same, the concept is same. Example: if you wanted to browse an internet or a YouTube, it is breaking out via this, and for the internal resources, it is coming to this tunnel, and you can able to access like this. And to a full mode VPN tunnel for a remote users, like full tunnel in the sense there's no internet breakout to the remote users. It is completely over the internet coming to the firewall FortiGate, and it is able to access. Obviously, the FortiGate has an internet, so your remote users will be also connected to this FortiGate and getting an internet access. So if you are streaming on YouTube or something on the remote users, the internet is accessed on this FortiGate, not with your local internet provider. So this is two concept where you wanted to just be uh, where you wanted to be aware before configuring the VPN tunnel. Yeah, this is what, and there are two modes, like with a Forti client you can connect, and there is a web portal. So in this video we're gonna just configure how we're gonna configure the portal settings of the Forti client only, not to the remote users. So first you go to the FortiGate, go to the users and the authentications, go to the user definition, go to the local user and just click next and give the username and password. So I have just given for my understanding, it will be test and the password is test. And you can go, like you can enable the two-factor authentication, but I am not doing here in this video. And click next and then go to the username and accounts, it should be enabled. And this user test users, you're gonna create, um, you're gonna append this to the user group. So go to the user group, create new, go to the firewall, give a name SSL VPN firewall, add this test to this member, click OK. And now the users and now the user and authentication is done. Now you wanted to specify on the VPN portal, so go to the, you will be getting a three default configurations on this FortiGate 7.0, where you have this full access, tunnel access and the web access. So as I explained, there is like a lot of similar ways to configure. So in this I am configuring a full access, where me as a remote user will be connected via the Forti client, will be accessing the internet via the new FortiGate, not with my local internet. So then go to the access enable based on this. So if you have an option, you can disable it, enable the trust. And now this is my internal VLAN. So this is the routing override. I need to add it here. That's the internal users. We're gonna create, add this to the remote address destination. That's the internal VLAN where will be routing override address, and the source will be this IP will be the one. Next slide. Yeah, this IP will be the one which will be giving the process to the next. So SSL received IP. So in the source SSL received IP, this is the new address groups which I have created, where the remote users who is connected will be receiving an IP from this group. That will be 10.1, 10.0.0.1, and just leave this default settings and allow client to save the password. You can change however you want it here. Allow the client to download the connect automatically. To keep the connections alive, DNS split tunneling, you can do it. You can explore the options with the Fortinet document, and you can configure as however you want. And post that, if you are configuring, like after that you have to configure SSL VPN settings. So this is the major settings where you're gonna get the SSL VPN configurations. So make sure you configure it properly. Give the name, like listen on the interface. This will be my WAN 1 interface. So this will be the one IP which will be talking to the net. So if you are, which is talking to the internet to this FortiGate. So this will be the same remote, and this will be the same public IP where the remote client will be using to connect to the FortiGate. So this will be listening on this will be internet facing IP, and the port conflicts with the HTTPS. So make sure you append 10.10443 so it does not conflict with HTTPS port. And idle time is 300. You can change however you required, and put the server certificate as factory default. And if you have your own certificate, you can just append that and configure the same while getting the client up connected to the FortiGate. And that's the one. After that, go to the settings, just leave it as it is, and in the tunnel mode you just have to specify the address SSL received IP. This is the one with the address groups where we have created the new IP block which will be received when the remote users is connected. And the next step is authentication porting mapping. Click new and append the user groups which you have created as the test, and the portal settings. So that will be like SSL VPN and the full access. Click OK and go to the firewall policy, SSL VPN to LAN, SSL VPN tunnel interface. We have already up with that pre-configured policy mapping, pre-configured full access mode. This will be created automatically, and this is the outgoing interface will be like my local interface, that where for the remote users this will be the outgoing interface, right? So they can able to connect from the user, and they can able to connect to my internal users. And the source will be my SSL VPN, that's the same group, and the destination will be my internal VLAN. And just scroll down, click OK, validate the settings, and connect the Forti client VPN. So where you're gonna just give the test and description as FortiGate, and this like I've just masked the thing. So this is the remote gateway. This is my WAN IP, FortiGate's WAN IP, where it will be listening to the remote users over the internet. And don't append, if you have uploaded any certificate, you just have to append the same certificate here, and don't enable this, else it creates a conflict. And just keep the save, and the VPN is connected.